Hello guys, welcome to the first episode of Fresh Buns. Sid, I don't know why we are still calling ourselves this.
Yeah, I know when we were meandering over the names, I came up with the name Game Pod.
Which
but
also did not make any sense at
yeah,
all.
because Pod, according to Mahati, thought it was a self-contained unit, and if you're doing a podcast, there might as well be a pod, right? That was my logic, but
But like, you laughed when I said it's a self-contained unit. It's just, two peas in a pod. Like how pod is a self-contained unit. That's where I was coming from.
so I guess right now when we are in the studio, we are in a contained unit, and it just comes back together. So you were right after all.
Okay, we can keep going on. Do you want to introduce our first guest?
Oh yeah. So my first guest of the show will be
Our first guest. I mean, it's
Our
about
first-
time you start treating me like the co-host I am. Jesus.
so our first guest would be Tarun. Let's clap for him.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
So a brief introduction to Tarun. Tarun actually needs no introduction because he's amazing and he's a really good friend of mine. He's also an avid gamer. He's been gaming since 25 years. He's been there, done that when it comes to gaming. He's played all the games. He knows everything about it. And he's also a great guy. Can I say that? You're a great guy.
Well, that's up for debate. But I mean, I didn't start gaming when I was 2, but I do like the idea that I've been gaming that long.
Gaming since you were 2. What
He
have you
seemed
been...
to imply that I was gaming since I was 2 because he said 25 years.
Sorry guys, let's not take the semantics too seriously. Let's just go ahead. You have been gaming since when then?
Maybe since I was 5. Like the good thing about gaming back then was like everyone was sort of united in it. Like everyone had those crappy consoles that were rip-offs of the SNES, the Dream Boys, and they came up with different names for them. Like they were Dream Boys, Dreamcast, some whatever name they came up with. Like they were still a versatile console, and we had the cartridges and a whole economy based around exchanging cartridges. And more than that, the rumors that if you blow into the cartridge, that will actually fix the cartridge magically.
Yeah, I used to do that all the time actually because when I was young, I was introduced to the Game Boy Advance. It was a handheld console and we used to play a lot of Pokemon.
It's
and
because you were in the richest strata, so
I wasn't on the richer strata, but
Game Boys were expensive back then, man.
And still, till today, when I got a job, the first thing Sid said was, buy me a what? Save up and buy something you said, no? Some
Nah,
rubbish.
but I
Nintendo
said,
Switch.
Yeah, buy him a Switch. I mean, even being from the rich strata and already having a Game Boy when I was a kid, still when I got a job, Sid wanted a Switch from me.
okay guys, let me just let you know this is exaggerated. I do not
This
belong to any
bonding.
richer strata. Narendra Modi is not my dad and Amit Shah is not my uncle.
And still you're a good Jew, so there is some connection there, so...
Oh yeah, the both of them are good
Far-fetched
Jews.
one.
Yeah. Okay, let's get back to gaming. So, blowing cartridges. How's that?
I like that subtle dig you made over there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it seemed to work. Like at least we were under the impression it used to work. But in actuality, like I said, it just damaged the cartridges because like the sensors were where you'd be blowing. I mean,
Exactly.
which is ideal
Alright
in
then.
some ways.
That's the thing because when it got dusty, right? Everyone just said just blow into it. It's equivalent to taking a disc and just wiping it with your t-shirt or your shirt. But in actuality, the CD would get scratches and it would just be worse for the disc itself. True. What was the first game that you played?
I think it was the original Prince of Persia that was designed by Jordan McNo.
I think even I played this.
Oh, you also played. So, guys,
Yeah.
to whoever's listening, Mahati has not played many games. She is what they would call a newbie compared to Tarun, who is actually pretty good at games.
I like how I'm suddenly a standard for something.
So it's
I
actually
feel
good.
validated.
that Mahati has played Prince of Persia, she can get along with this conversation. She knows
Yeah, till now I
what's it
was pretty
about.
much lost. Like cartridges blowing. I'm like, what are they
I'm
saying?
well, maybe the former, but not the latter.
Shut up.
Subtle, as always that way.
I remember the first time I started gaming was because my dad had introduced me to it. He introduced me to a game called Age of Empires,
And
and
everything was downhill from there for him, I
it
think.
was basically downhill. And I'm like
For him,
27
not
now.
for you.
Yeah, it was because he never thought that I'd go ahead with the idea of gaming and playing every single day. It really helps me calm my mind and I can actually think while I game. It's kind of weird, but it's a multitasking
Otherwise, you
skill, I would
can't
say.
think.
Well, I need to focus
Debatable.
my I need to focus on something. So yeah, it's really hard to not game and think
It's hard,
for
yeah.
me.
Oh, guys.
Oh, sorry.
But it does help the game. Like it helps you with the downtime, helps clear your mind,
True.
and like it sort of helps you get rid of all your emotional baggage. At least for me,
But still, Sid is like this.
yes, doesn't work for everyone.
The thing with gaming is that we come across gazillions of stories. There's so much creative flow in a game. In a book, you might as well read and you can imagine. But in a game, there are visuals to it. There are certain things happening each and every second in the game. And then you can imagine yourself to be the character, which you can do as when you read a book as well. But in a game, I think it's more immersive.
Is it the same
What
for
do you
you as
guys?
well?
Yeah, pretty much. I've always maintained that gaming can be like the highest form of art because it combines narrative and immersion. So you got artwork, you got a narrative, you got moment to moment gameplay. It's something that you can get lost into, and that's a sort of fantasy that you can live, and it's an escape, yeah. But as long as you keep it balanced, like there's no problem to it, because there is controversy going on in online gaming in India with bans going on with PUBG and other such games. So I wouldn't hold that as a
It's funny. It's so funny that they banned PUBG, but they haven't banned those pop-up bloody games that come literally on your web screen, and it says there's almost this semi-nude anime girl, and she's like tap me to play, and then you don't even know what to do after that. You're like, dude, they banned PUBG. I could have shot somebody else, but then
But now
I
I
have
have to
to play
tap
this.
this
I have to tap
happening.
this. I have to see what this is like now.
No, but what is your opinion on elders or like parents saying that playing games, like the violent ones, make because you've been gaming ever since you were a kid, right? So what do people say about it's violent and makes people like angry and makes kids violent?
I would say that kids are impressionable, but you can't blame it on the medium because there have been studies, and when I was studying my psychology, I did a bit of research into the positive effects of gaming. So it was found that more than triggering aggression, it could even foster positive social bonding among children and older adults as well. Because there's a whole element of socialization to it. Like you go over, play with your friends, like couch co-op, or now it's become all online. So you end up making friends from across the globe. So it's not just one short answer because there have been, as much as I like to deny that there's no, and as much as I like to say that there's no correlation, there is some evidence. Some studies do suggest that there is. So it's pulverized. But now gaming is getting more into the positive light.
There was apparently this study as well, and I remember a decade back there was this study which basically said that if you game and if you play all these war-related games, they make kids aggressive. And finally, the newsletter that I was waiting for has finally come, which basically says that a 10-year study finds out that gaming does not lead to aggression, and all of us gamers would probably be
Sigh
like,
of
yeah,
relief.
dude, yeah, isn't that obvious? Wasn't it obvious all along? Imagine like a 60-year-old man studying gamers who hasn't played a game in his day, who doesn't know anything about video games, and he's like, yeah, bro, these guys are probably angry because it's not lag. It just cannot be lag. It has to be the games that they're playing.
But there have been isolated instances of school shootings and all that. But I think that's more to attribute to the individual's personality. Because it's
Yeah,
always an
exactly.
interplay
But
of
was
No,
it
that's
because?
true. School shootings and all don't have anything. I mean, it's not easy to just trace it back to one source, right?
yeah.
There is so much, not just personal vendetta, it's so much politics behind it, or and individual behavior also, obviously.
Yeah. I
It
mean,
wasn't because he was playing Call of Duty and literally hazing another guy and said, "Yo, bro, I'm just gonna go to a school and clap it up completely."
the funny thing was the study said that they used to practice shooting in the hills and like they got some experience also from playing Quake
Hmm.
back in the day, which was like a really popular shooter then. My bad. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, Quake was an arena kind of shooter, and it's funny how shooters have evolved over the years to become more military and realistic. Whereas back in those days, it was more like arcade kind of style games, which focused on more visceral kind of gameplay that was just satisfying and had a really good primary loop.
So Tarun, you told me one thing that you've played. One of your favorite games that you've actually ever played is Spec Ops. It was a game released sometime in 2015, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Not 2015, more like 2012, if
Okay.
I'm remembering correctly.
Uh,
Around 2012, 2013.
So it's a psychological shooter game which happens in the Middle East, in a war-torn Middle East, right?
Yeah, that's correct. But the thing to know about Spec Ops: The Line is it was a reimagining of a very popular. Okay, I'm overselling it. It was not a popular series, Spec Ops. It was military shooters that were trying to cash in on the trend that was there in the 90s. So what came about was Jaeger Studios was given an opportunity by 2K to develop a game without any restrictions. And the intent of the team was to portray a game that showed you the dark side of war, and that was like you said, psychological in nature.
Mm-hmm.
So in many ways, it makes us ask the question like, what are our choices and how we're answerable for the things we do. And the setting makes it seem like at first it's just a fun shooter where you go into the Middle East, shoot some brown people, and
to
save the day
release
and
to shoot
be.
brown people, like our kind.
Yeah, I mean, to Americans, we're all the same, I guess. I mean, okay,
Yeah.
I'm getting too political here. Right, so getting back to the point, like, so you're sent in, so basically, you're this uh, captain who's sent in to monitor the evacuation in Dubai, but you notice that things are really messed up, so you sort of try to be the hero, the typical action hero, and
Mm-hmm.
save the day and figure out what's going on, what's going wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But it just ends up being a descent towards and a spiraling towards insanity. And the game's based off has a really good source material called Heart of Darkness. It's a novella by Joseph Conrad,
Mm-hmm.
which deals with like the title, confronting a heart of darkness, like seeing what human beings are actually capable of.
So, and you've played this game a couple of times, right? And I mean,
Yeah.
guys, I have played this game as well, but
I
I
have not.
and Mahati hasn't. Mahati's yet to play. We'll make her play probably tomorrow. We'll release the footage of the game while Mahati plays and asks a million questions. including how to tap.
Shut up.
Relevant questions.
So it has multiple endings. So when you reach
That's
at the
correct.
end of the game, when you reach at the end of the game, you have quite a few number of choices or directions that you can take. Now people when they play games, they think there's only a unidirectional path to an ending, right? To a game when it ends. But Spec Ops is one of the few games. There have been many games like uh, Red Dead
No.
Redemption's got 36 endings. What's it Witcher though? I think
Not
it's
Red
Witcher,
Dead
man.
Redemption.
Yeah,
Red
yeah.
Dead Redemption is
Sorry guys, it was
single
Witcher
ending.
that had 36 endings.
So you guys were talking about the wrong game the whole time.
No, we were talking about the correct game, but
Alright.
It's drawing an analogy.
my example was way off. What do you think
But
about those?
Witcher has 36 different endings, which is the
I believe so. I mean, I just checked it on. Let me just check this out.
36 different endings, so it depends on the choices that you make.
Exactly.
Isn't it this
Very
that
much.
Netflix show that?
Called the
Bandersnatch.
Bandersnatch, yes.
Yeah,
Correct.
exactly. Yeah.
But the problem, Bandersnatch is a really good episode, okay? It had that guy whose eyebrows look like they're worms. I don't know the guy's name.
the guy from Weird Millers.
Yeah, the guy from We Are the Millers. The We Are Getting Paid guys.
Oh
That
yeah,
guy.
that guy.
Yeah, the guy, that meme guy.
Is he the same guy in
He's in Revenant also.
he's
Yeah,
not
was.
there in what's that other series? I forgot its name.
We Are Not the
The
Millers.
End of the Fucking World? No, right?
The End of the Fucking World.
Is he there?
So guys, that's
No.
End of the Fucking World.
He's not the same guy. He's not the same guy.
No.
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 You're talking about the title character, right?
Yeah, that
Yeah,
guy.
not the same guy.
Not the same
Not
guy.
the same person.
Similar though. They look similar.
No, they don't.
And they don't? Okay, my bad.
So bang on, Bandersnatch is exactly the same. But there was one problem that I found with Bandersnatch. Great story, great direction. The only problem was that once you're watching the episode, right? And you have full discretion of going
Either-
rewind.
Yeah.
So when you picked an option, you could always go back 5 minutes back. And if you picked the other option, you could again go 5 minutes back. They shouldn't have done that. They shouldn't have given you the freedom to rewind just 5 minutes back just to see what's going to happen in front.
You prefer the viewer to watch the whole thing again and then get it.
Yeah, exactly. Because, in that way they would have appreciated the episode more. Because as far as I remember, Bandersnatch did not have such great reviews.
Is it allowed in the game though that you make a certain choice, but then you're allowed to go back? No,
I
you're not
don't,
allowed to do
as
that.
far as I know, no. You couldn't do that.
No.
You
Okay.
live with your choices.
But you can play it again and you can make different choices.
Yeah.
From scratch.
Have
Exactly.
you either of you made like seen the 36 different endings?
No, that's a
That's a
different
different
game.
game.
So I'm
Yes.
talking about that game only, which is similar to.
We're talking about the game which Tarun has written the article on, which is Spec Ops, the line.
Oh, I was just
Yeah.
asking general questions about Witcher and if
Oh,
either
Witcher.
of you have.
I have not played the Witcher 3. Like, I played the first two.
Hey, even I haven't, dude.
Some similarity there.
Yes.
Can go have El Niru after this.
Yelniru,
Yerliru, yeah.
You're not quite rolling it right.
rolling the L's.
Yeah, I never learned how to roll, man, actually. That's probably
problematic.
Yeah. What do you think about these multiple endings in games, though? You think it's a viable choice for players, or you think it's hard to actually have multiple endings and people, the directors should just finish at just one ending. Just let it be, man. Just end it. Because we don't want to give gamers multiple endings because they have different options and then they think that, one option was the best, so I'd just rather take that. Why did they even have to have the other option? Like in Mass Effect 3. So,
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I feel like multiple endings can be a good thing if it's done correctly, like how it's done in Spec Ops The Line and like other games like Heavy Rain.
mhm,
If you played Heavy Rain.
not quite. I heard of it.
Yeah. So you need to give it essentially gives a player more agency.
Mhm.
So it makes for a more immersive experience. But then again, the endings have to be done well. Like there has to be some significant difference in terms of the overall implications. Like if the original ending of Mass Effect was different colored lighting, essentially. It's like
Okay.
choose your ice cream flavor,
Mm-hmm.
and it was the same thing. All the endings, and like it built up as a promise of 3 games worth of content of choices.
Mm-hmm.
Was supposed to lead to something phenomenal in the ending in terms of phenomenal in the sense like in how drastic and different these endings would be.
Correct.
But when it leans towards similar endings, like what is even the point?
Yeah, true, true.
Does having multiple endings also make the game more popular? It's just, people want to play it more because, okay, I played it once and this is the ending. And okay, but what if I had done this instead? So
Yeah, you
maybe
make a
does
good
that,
point.
yeah.
It
So
is
people
replay
keep,
value.
yeah, exactly.
It's actually a good. I mean, that's probably one of the reasons why all these directors and these gaming companies have multiple endings because they want users to play the entire game again. True. But I think
Does the popularity of a game also increase depending on how many times
I
people have
don't think the
played it?
popularity
Not
increases though. You
necessarily.
just you just have like these cult of gamers that stick on to one game and then they want to finish that game again and again because they want to. We actually have a really good friend who does that.
But I thought it would work. Does it work like videos, like YouTube videos? That popularity increases with the number of views it has. So similarly with games, if more number of people are playing it, so wherever, whatever website or application that gamers use, will it show up there that so many people have played it and maybe you should try it out too or something like that. I mean, I was just wondering. I mean, I don't know
Not
anything.
really.
What do I know?
That's cool. Like I mean, the popularity goes up depending on just on the quality of the game. Quite
But
frankly.
that's good though. I mean, that
Yeah.
at least means that
Yeah,
people are
true.
maintaining quality while they're developing
Yeah.
games, right? Yeah,
I mean, if you just tack on multiple endings, it has to make sense in the context and like why these endings are happening.
that's true.
But there are games which have good like good endings and bad endings based on your karmic choices. So those tend to be a little polarizing because it's like it's either you kick a puppy or destroy a dragon or something.
Ouch.
Yeah.
That was a very harsh example.
Yeah, I mean the evil choices are
Puppies
like
felt that.
murder orphans or something, or set a bunch of werewolves to massacre a village of elves to enlist them in, to convince them to enlist in your army. That's Dragon Age, by the way.
Yeah, I figured. It took me a second to figure out which game you were talking about. But okay,
Took me
I'm
also a few
kidding.
seconds, but I didn't figure it out.
I must confess, none of us knew which game you were talking about. Okay, but
You remember the oak dude who gives you his branch, though.
yeah, the big ass oak dude in the forest. Correct. Because
Correct.
an oak tree would be in a
Correct.
forest.
Yes, correct.
So you've written an article about this game, an extensive article, and how does the gameplay and the narrative work in tandem with each other?
The thing about Spec Ops is most reviewers and players even dismiss it as being a very generic third-person shooter with an amazing narrative. But what they don't realize is the moment-to-moment gameplay changes considerably as the spiral into insanity is set off, and it's exploration of the human psyche essentially. So when you start off, the character Captain Walker, he is the consummate professional. Like he just does what he needs to do, takes out his targets like with extreme legal efficiency without doing anything extra. But as time goes on, he gets more brutal in his executions. He he gets worn down physically and mentally, and as you go on, you start getting worn as a player as well, because you're like when at first you're like I'm into this sort of power fantasy, but then you start losing sight of who you are in this power fantasy, and then you're just tired and you're like, when will this end? Why are these enemies constantly spawning? Why are these mods getting so insurmountable?
Interesting. This also sounds like the story or the narration of another game which came out recently, The Last of Us 2. And it also sounds like
Yeah.
you've played a lot of Spec Ops the line, man. Like, you really immersed that game into you that you might as well be Captain Walker, because when I was just hearing you, I was just like, damn, dude. This guy might
Yes,
be
that
Captain
part.
Walker. Did he even like this? I like it. This was really nice. It's a really good explanation as well into the game, and I hope whoever's listening to this podcast, guys, please play this game, because this would really introduce you to the gaming industry. We don't want you to play games like Candy Crush and
What is wrong with Candy Crush?
it's just, you
Just
know,
shut up.
people call themselves, bro, I'm a gamer, and then they say, so what
Nobody-
games do you play?
no-
FIFA, bro. I like, and then they say Candy Crush. I mean,
Nobody says Candy Crush and calls themselves gamers. Said.
there was this aunt, okay, she
You're
called herself a gamer.
Yeah,
She
so
said,
they're
I
basing
also
it
play
off of-
games. And I said, oh, okay, so auntie, what games do you play? See, there's Candy Crush, no? And then Farmville had come out, no, on Facebook. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, all of us played Farmville. Whoever disagreed to the fact that they played Farmville,
I didn't play Farm.
I didn't play Farmville.
Loser.
hypocrite. Everyone played Farmville.
Nobody played Farmville. Okay, people played Farmville, but I didn't play Farmville.
Okay, Farmville
I was
wasn't
being a
amazing.
hypocrite, like, we just haven't played it.
Were you also one of those who got up in the middle of the night? Oh no, I haven't watered my crops.
Yeah, I kept an alarm at like 2 o'clock in the morning. So I used to get up, go online on Facebook, say hi to whoever's online, and then water my plants. I don't know.
Subtle as always.
Mm.
But I never got the addiction to these online games on Facebook. Like, it
You
comes and
Club
goes.
Penguin was something which is very. People used to play Club
I never
Penguin.
fucked with Club Penguin. I just never. It was just never my thing. I don't know why. I never tried it actually. Did you guys try it?
No. I'm actually thinking of
No.
what I used to play. I played Candy Crush.
About Neopets.
Gamer.
I'm not calling myself a gamer.
I mean, it's time you embrace it. I mean, you played Prince of Persia, so that's like the
Long
OG.
back. Once upon a time. Oh, I used to play Angry Birds.
Oh, I also I remember
Which
I made her
version?
play PUBG on the PC once,
Once.
Wow.
and she actually came 6th or 7th.
Damn.
So it was pretty good, man. I mean, 0 kills. You
Very
survived.
nice.
Yeah.
You survived the onslaught. So congratulations on that.
Clap, 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 clap.
Clap, clap, clap.
Clap, clap, clap.
Thanks for being here with us today, Tarun. I think I learned about this whole new world that I was not even... I mean, I was aware of, but listening to both of you talk made me realize it's a whole world in itself that I don't know about. And since we are called Fresh Buns / Game Pod, I
That's
think
right.
I will, on the course of making these podcasts, I think I will pick up a game or two. But I had a question for you.
Yeah, tell me.
So two questions. One is that for people like me who haven't ever gamed, what's the one game that you would recommend that I start off with?
I'd recommend starting with this game called What Remains of Edith Finch, which is a narrative exploration.
You will have to
based
write
on-
that down for me.
Yeah, for sure. It's a mouthful. So it's an exploration-based game that looks into the lineage of a family, but the gameplay is very unique. And as someone who's a newcomer, you'll be able to enjoy it. It's very entry-level friendly.
And
Alright.
okay, for how about a person who's already played games?
Spec Ops, man.
I've played that, man. But yeah, for the listeners out there, guys, Spec Ops the line, it's free. Well, it's not free, but you know, there are ways to get it free. I mean, I don't want to say anything about that.
But you know, if not Spec Ops, I'd say I've been playing Death Stranding, and that's been really growing on me.
Interesting.
So that could be something serious gamers can explore or rather give a chance to. Because people just dismiss it as a cargo delivery or Amazon delivery simulator.
Yeah, just
When It's
walking.
not walking simulator, yeah. But it's so much more than that.
True.
What is this game? Sounds
This
interesting.
so this was a recently made game, and we can talk about it on the next episode.
Yeah. Or actually play it on the next episode maybe.
You can actually play it on the next episode. That's a
yeah.
good idea. See,
Yeah.
our creative flow while we talk on the podcast is amazing, but otherwise it's pretty.
Mine is amazing. Don't just speak for yourself, man.
But Game Pod also kind of makes sense as a title for the show.
I know, right? I was saying
Because,
this.
in the old arcades, it was kind of like a pod, right?
Self-contained unit.
Self-contained unit.
Which comes full circle.
We have come full circle indeed. So this brings us to the end of our episode.
With Tarun, the gamer,
Yeah.
the future psychologist, and overall a
And
great
all
guy,
that.
man. Ladies,
And
please
Sid's old friend and my new friend.
sit.
Yeah, to new
Ladies,
friendships.
if you are listening to this, I hope you are. Please slide into his DMs because it's a big slide there.
What?
What is that supposed to be?
Fruitful. I don't know, man. Just.
Okay, guys, thanks for tuning in. Do remember to like us on Instagram. You can find the information in the description. Also, do comment, share, subscribe. And if any of you all have any topics that you want us to talk about or you want to talk to us, then leave a comment and we'll be happy to discuss any topic or talk to you as well. And we'll be rolling out episodes every week. So stay tuned and I hope you guys had fun listening.
As much as we had making this. Thanks to the team. Thanks to everyone.
Thanks,
and
Tarun.
see you next week. Thanks, Tarun.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.